Meet an inventive band of performance artists who build outrageous bicycle contraptions straight out of the dump. And don't even think about throwing that old VCR away.
This motor is going to be perfect for our project.
All this and some amazing creations sent in by makers from around the country, coming up on Make.
Make is brought to you by Geek Squad, supporting your technology needs. We're committed to making a difference with youth, fostering a passion for technology and innovation. In communities all over the country, our Geek Squad Summer Academies teach young people computer skills, empowering them to succeed in technology careers.
I want to be that role model for them. I want them to excel.
Geek Squad, supporting everyday heroes.
I make Tesla coils.
I make t-shirt cannons.
We make bent circuits.
I make rockets.
We make robots.
I make projection.
I make catapults.
I make sculptures.
My name is Jericho Reese, and we are over at Ace Junkyard here in San Francisco, California, also known as Cyclecide headquarters. And what we do is we take bikes that a wonderful disposable society throws away. We like to make them into all kinds of pedal-powered monstrosities. Some people paint, some people do sculpture. We do bicycles.
We've got air compressor bikes. We have tall bikes.
One of the tall bikes is called Roberto, the Bone Breaker.
We have tandem tall bikes. We have swing bikes. We have rocket bikes.
The Heavy Pedal Cyclecide Bike Rodeo is an organization of metal fabricators, musicians, artists, bike riders.
A Cyclecide is a collaborative. You know, there's a lot of people involved.
People just kind of jump in and build pedal-powered instruments of fun, basically.
We're not really into the practicality of the bike. We don't really care about like how fast you can ride. We're actually more interested in how well you can fall off a bike.
Sometimes you'll actually be inspired by a bike. You'll look at it, and it might be a little kid's bike or a mountain bike, and you'll say, I know how to change that and make it fun. This is one of our newer tall bikes. Basically put like a female frame on top of a cruiser frame. You can ride around and it's a great view. We also use these for tall bike jousting. Some of our bikes are monsters. This one is the Chupacabra. As you pedal, the arms move, the mouth moves, and it shoots fire. So this bike may appear to be broken, but actually it's the wrong way bike, and through a set of gears, it steers in the opposite direction that you want it to go. You have to be dyslexic ambidextrous with attention deficit disorder to ride this bike. This one's part of our fleet of lawnmower bikes that's mowing a strip across America. It's all about cutting your grass.
There's an old saying that says, if you can draw it, you can build it. And even if it's not practical, when you look at a bicycle, looking at it sitting in front of you, just use your imagination, because your imagination, as Einstein said, is more important than knowledge. Half the stuff we would not have come up with if we were thinking about practicality and what will work. So making drawings is very important, because you're making a drawing, you're creating and solving problems at the same time. One of our most interesting bikes is a swing bike. Basically, it's a bike with another steering tube that breaks the bike in half so it can swing. It looks like a normal bike at first, and all of a sudden you swing it, and it's just like, wow.
Here we have all the parts that we've cut up for a swing bike. We get bikes from all sorts of places. People bring them to us. We get them from the junkyard. We get them from the dump. Paul the plumber is one of our ace builders, and he's artist in residence at the SF dump.
You never know what you're gonna get when. I might go out there one day and nothing, and then the next day is, you know, too much for me to drag back here. I'm building a lot of stuff, like I wanted to make a firefighter bike, and this thing really goes. Found a pressure washer in the dump here. The motor was toast. So geared it up to a bike, and here we go. This was a parade bike because it goes at parade speed, which is mighty slow. Oh, the steering is backwards too, so you turn left to go right and vice versa. It just crawls. This thing, it's called Crash. Here I have a wheelchair motor. It's driving a chain, and the chain is driving bicycle wheels. I'm using bicycle inner tubes here for belts. Again, bike technology, I'm working with that because it's just so easy to find this stuff. The bicycle rim shot was an idea I've had for a while. So these two peanuts were walking down the street, and one of them was assaulted. Just like the Tonight Show, you know, you get the rim shot, that about boom. Your joke can be lousy, and you still get the rim shot. This is a Cyclone, and it's a ball drop. Everybody loves a ball drop. I got all these parts out of the dump. So this is a wheelchair motor, and I'm using this wheelchair motor as a generator, and I'm powering it off of a stationary bike. This is all made out of exterior lawn furniture, a bunch of conduit, and here's an oxygen tank. There's a CO2 tank. This is bicycle chain, and a whole lot of curtain rod. And here we go.
Cyclecide has built several rides. We decided that it would be kind of cool to build a pedal-powered carnival and have these crazy pedal-powered rides along with our entourage of freaky bikes.
This is the Dizzy toy. Two peddlers sit on opposite sides and spin around this center axle. No engines, no magic, it's just all human power.
The Cyclefuge, it's an 8-pedal powered ride.
The faster you pedal, the more likely the riders are to vomit.
And you got 4 people below you pedaling, and you're in one of the swings just spinning around. It's like the wind just whips through your hair. It feels like you're flying.
Again, we're just using the simplest stuff. We're using wheelbarrow tires to drive the ring that pushes the swings around.
Here you go.
Really simple and elegant, and it works great.
Cyclecide is the only full-fledged carnival midway that I know of that's totally all bicycles and all about pedal power. On top of that, we thought, well, it'd be kind of cool to have a rodeo.
The rodeo is an experimental playground for people that want to try out our monsters of steel. I love to see the barrel racing and people getting competitive about trying to get their tires around the spoking poles. The show is built up to a point where the audience just is dying to get on the bikes, and they get on, and it just becomes absolute chaos, mayhem.
Historically, when you think about bicycles, like there's no machine that's more democratic or versatile than the bicycle itself. I mean, E equals MC squared was discovered while riding a bicycle. The Wright brothers were bicycle mechanics. Henry Ford was a bicycle mechanic when he started off. It's across his science, across his art. There's so many principles involved in it, and that's why we're attached to it. You know, it's just a great machine.
Makers and their newfangled ideas have made the bicycle what it is today, beginning with the classic penny farthing. It got its nickname from its huge front wheel and tiny back wheel, reminding Victorian admirers of England's largest and smallest copper coins. The penny farthing was invented by a maker named James Starley, a sewing machine designer by trade. In 1868, he happened across a French velocipede, a wrought iron monstrosity whose ride was so rough it was called a bone shaker. Starley lightened the load by using wire spokes and doubled the size of the front wheel. This gave the rider a mechanical advantage, but also led to the origin of the phrase, taking a header. Mark Twain took a ride and said, "Get a bicycle, you'll not regret it, if you live." Despite the danger, the penny farthing became wildly popular. Starley's nephew, a maker named John Starley, one-upped his uncle's design with the Rover, which flaunted equal-size wheels, gears, and a chain, features that made it the first modern bicycle.
Hi, I'm John Park, and today we're talking VCRs. These things changed the way we watch television, gave us movie rentals and late fees. If you're like me, you probably don't use yours much anymore. But don't throw it out, whatever you do. These things are full of all kinds of motors, gears, sensors, and a sophisticated timer that you can use for your own projects, all for the taking and the making. Check this out. This is a project I built. It's an alarm clock made from a VCR. I pulled the motor out, set it on top here, and I built a little rig with a chain, rubber band, and some heat shrink tubing. This is going to whack the heck out of this bell that I mounted on top. And best of all, I've mounted a kill switch inside of a gutted out VCR remote. Watch this. Okay, that's a fun project, but today we're going to deal with something far more serious. How to feed my cat when I'm away for the weekend. That's right, a VCR powered cat feeder. Let's take one apart and see how it works. Okay, first thing is safety. I want to protect myself from the high voltage area. I'm going to use this mouse pad. Just set it in here where the power line comes in. Okay, I can see the tape is running across these capstan rollers and to this drum head motor. This is the part that I'm going to pull out for the project because it can still operate while it's outside of the VCR. Now, if you don't have an old VCR lying around, it's okay. You can pick one up cheap at a thrift store or a yard sale. The original VCR cat feeder was designed by James Larson. He used an old VCR with the motor connected to a gearbox. This drove a meat grinder and it conveyed the food into the kiddie bowl below. Now, I've found these new VCRs are a little too smart for their own good. They're packed with sensors that will detect any speed change in this motor, and that'll stop things from running. So we're going to have to modify Larson's design. This motor is going to be perfect for our project. It was easy to remove, and it's got a nice long ribbon cable so I can keep it plugged into the VCR when I've mounted it on the top. To mount it, I grabbed a bracket from another VCR. This is going to give me a nice sturdy base to set this on. Now the question is, how can I get this sensitive little high-speed motor to drive a cat feeder? If anything gets in the way of this thing's speed, it can shut down the whole system. The answer is a pulley. Just like gearing down a bicycle when you go uphill, this is going to reduce the angular velocity of my motor and increase the torque. So over here, I've got a frame made out of plywood. It's been given a nice coat of paint for looks, and I drilled a hole through it so that we could mount a bolt as the axle. This has some nice bearings in it, so we shouldn't have too much friction. Down here, you can see I've got my motor attached to its mounting base, and then an old aluminum ruler is being used as a bracket to get just the precise angle that I need. As a belt, I've got some of this stretch magic cord. It's just looped around here and tied in a knot with a decent amount of tension on it. Tie your stretchy cord with an overhand knot to keep it secure. So this is the moment of truth. I'm worried about this guy spinning a little slow and shutting off the system. Let's see how it works. So I'm going to bring this up to speed, and we can listen for that motor. Here it comes. Okay, it's getting there. And yes! This thing's really going now. This is great. But this is running a bit fast, so I'm probably going to need to build a couple of more pulleys to slow the whole thing down. To gear this down, for each large pulley, I need to attach a small pulley. So I've got a piece of 2-inch PVC coupling that I've drilled out to fit over this hub. And when you're using power tools, don't forget these. All right, we've got it all set up now. With my motor running to the first pulley, then to a PVC, second pulley, PVC, and the final pulley. This is going to reduce the speed from about 1800 RPM to 30 RPM with lots more torque. So now, let's check it out and see how it runs. Bring this guy up to speed. And liftoff. This is great. Check it out. It's turning it, and I'm not tripping any of the sensors for torque in the VCR. So the only question remaining is, how is this thing going to feed a cat? We could have used a meat grinder, as in the original design, but we wanted to keep with the wheel motif. So I took one of these CD spindles. I've been waiting to use one of these in a project. Cut the center off, and then mounted the base here onto the pulley. Now by cutting a hole into one of these tops, you can vary the flow of kibble into the bowl below. I'm going to tip this forward and attach it to the base. And I'm going to need a chute to catch that food. So I've got a PVC pipe that's been cut in half and mounted on a little base. I'm going to line this with the hole on the CD case and then place the bowl below. Okay, it's time to check it out and see how it works. Power this up and watch the kibble flow. Yes, it's working. There it is, a VCR powered cat feeder. Now all that's left is to test it out in the real world with a real cat. Okay, I set it up next to the cat's dish. There goes the timer. VCR is starting up. Great. Here it goes, round and round. It's falling into the dish. He's going in for the kill. Yes! Eat that food, kitty! Imagine all the other weird things you can build with an old VCR. In fact, send us your photos and we'll put them up on the blog. I'm John Park. See you next time in the Maker Workshop.
I'm making a prototype camping stove out of some materials I found around my house. This, if I can make it work, is going to be a great little stove. The idea is that this fan is going to blow air through the combustion chamber. When that air goes through there, this fire will burn very hot, and I can boil water in no time at all. Now, in order to do this, I've got to cut some holes in sheet metal. This is basically a project in sheet metal working. I need to cut a round hole in the top, and I need to cut a square hole in the side for the fan. Now, how am I going to cut those holes? Well, the first thing I could do is use my trusty tin snips. But you know, there's problems involved with using tin snips. It's really hard to get in there and cut these interior holes. It's kind of just an awkward tool. So, it's not the right tool for the job. What you really need is this. This is a nibbler. And what it does is, it has a little die that goes up and down and punches holes in sheet metal. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to insert the sheet metal into the nibbler and squeeze the handle. That little notch there, that's the nibble. I'm going to do another one. This hand nibbler is a great tool for doing precise cuts, but it's so slow. This nibbler, it's still not the right tool for the job. This is a pneumatic nibbler. They also make electric nibblers. Now this slot here is where the sheet metal goes. Let me show you how it works. Oh yeah, that's going to make short work of my camp stove project. I'm Bill Gurstelle, talking maker to maker.
Do you ever find yourself in a situation where you really have to scream, but you can't? Well, ScreamBody is a portable space for screaming. ScreamBody acts as a surrogate lung. It holds a user's screams so that their own body does not have to. When a user screams into ScreamBody, their scream is silenced. But it is also recorded for later release. The main body of ScreamBody is constructed of open-cell polyurethane foam with a latex barrier around that. These two together act to absorb and contain the sound of the scream. On the outside there are two conductive switches, one for recording on the top and one for playing back on the bottom. They're made of 2 layers of copper separated by an insulating layer of rubber with holes cut into it. As the squeeze switch is squeezed, the layers of copper will come in contact and the switch will be closed. I will play back a scream for you.
Essentially, how it works is very similar to a barcode scanner that you'd see in the supermarket. When you break the beam with your hand, the sensor on the floor sees the reflected light pulse and uses that to work out which beam has been broken, because it's actually the same beam but moving really, really fast. So these 10 lasers are actually the same laser, and by working out the time of when the pulse is, you can work out which beam has been broken. So play different notes.
My name's Paul, and I'm one of the creators of these cupcake cars here. Myself and my wife Claudine and Greg and Lisa were sitting around at dinner one night and trying to figure out what to build. Lisa's crazy about muffins, so we came up with a way to build little cars shaped like muffin cars. This is kind of what we ended up with. We fold sheet steel and we use scooter motors, and they're all powered by electricity. So this one is powered by 2 little electric scooter motors. It goes about 10 or 12 miles an hour, and we get about 10 or 12 miles range out of it.
I've been a geek all my life, and I've made you know, all sorts of things, tinkering at home and playing with electronics, and in particular microcontrollers. And I was out in public, as many people are, and noticed that TVs are popping up everywhere you go. And since I'm a geek, I thought up an idea to turn them all off. And that's why I came up with TV Be Gone, which is a universal remote control that turns off any TV in a public place. And the way it works is it has one button instead of other remote controls which have all those extraneous buttons that you don't really need. I just left the off button. So when you push the button, it puts out the off code, one right after the other, for every brand of TV, just about every brand of TV in the world. One right after the other, and eventually the TV in front of you will turn off. And you put it together, and it looks like this. And it can turn off TVs in public places from 40 or 50 yards away. And so I put it together in a hat. I thought it'd be fun to put it in a hat. Here's my make hat. And you just sort of cover the circuit in some black heat shrink tubing to make it more stealth. Here's the battery and the activator button. And so all you have to do is wear the hat and look at a TV, press the activator button, and it says the word off in every TV language, and the one in front of you will turn off. Here we are at my favorite Irish pub, where people really should be talking rather than watching television. And that's all I have to say about my homemade invention, TV Be Gone.
You'll find a lot more on the Make Television website, from step-by-step instructions for our projects to a video archive of all our shows. And don't forget to submit a video of your own project to the Maker channel. You'll find it all at makezine.tv. Coming up next time on Make.
Using kites to lift cameras to take aerial photographs. It's actually pretty fun to do and yields really interesting images.
Today, I'm going to show you how to build a burrito blaster. This is an air cannon that can shoot any kind of food, bratwurst, hot dogs, even t-shirts and confetti into the stands at the ballpark. You are responsible for your own safety when building projects you see on Make. Wear protective gear when using power tools. Exercise caution when using hazardous materials. Follow manufacturer's instructions. And the best advice of all, use common sense.
Make is brought to you by Geek Squad, supporting your technology needs. We're committed to making a difference with youth, fostering a passion for technology and innovation. In communities all over the country, our Geek Squad Summer Academies teach young people computer skills, empowering them to succeed in technology careers.
I want to be that role model for them. I want them to excel.
Geek Squad, supporting everyday heroes.